Hello, Heart Warriors and Patreon subscribers. We're back here for the energy tips for week 49. For week 45, that is the 3rd till the 9th of November. I hope you're having a great weekend. Those of you who are in the Grace Mental Heart Fusion Marathon, or Soulfulness Marathon as I called it, yeah, hang in there, only one more session. This was a really intense experience. Thank you guys for coming. All right, so the theme here for this next week is the question whether this sort of leap, this new level of consciousness is a challenge or whether it's a gift. I want to leave this up to you. Obviously, this depends on how we contextualize things, how we experience things, our maturity, and our ability to express all this. We talked a little bit about this in the Truth Talk. This next week in particular is catch-up time for you guys. It's all about being truthful to yourself, seeing your own blocks and finding ways to get past it. And guess what? All your ascension pains are going to show up. All the judgment that you have towards yourself, that the feeling not good enough and thinking that you have to try harder or wanting to throw the towel or, all these things are going to be really, really, really aware to you this next week. And this doesn't have to be a struggle. This doesn't have to be a pain, guys, all right? This fixation on emotions, okay, this is what we call attachments. So every time you hear me say, to transcend attachments or let go of something, it's really that part in you, that wants it a different way, or that wants to have more and doesn't get more, or that is afraid of not getting it, or that is afraid of how others would see it, or what the consequences could be of admitting this truth to yourself. So a lot of this transformation business, guys, is about being willing to admit things to yourself. This is what it means to be truthful to yourself. I've announced this in the November forecast. Sorry for the dog barking. I've put out the NARC alert for this week, and only to really remind those of you who still are in toxic relationships that this week can be somewhat of a difficult week for you, because as all these things are coming out and as you can see them more clearly, there's a potential that you get into fights over this. My tip for you is, see it for what it is, all right, but don't go into direct confrontation. I'll typically be the first one to say, overcome your fear of confrontation. But when you're actually in a relationship with a narc, be it, at home or at work, this confrontation with a narcissistic personality or someone who's very narcissistic and exploitative in his nature does not actually get you where you want. You have to use this as to strengthen your stance, to really see where you're at and ask yourself what you want to do. If you want to live with this for the rest of your life, or, for whatever time frame you've planned on doing that, if that's okay with you. The choice has to come from you. And this has to do with your own integrity now, okay? Those of you who are literally feeling pain when you are confronted with falsehoods or fake stuff, I can only encourage you guys to understand that this is real, all right? This is your system showing you what is not right, what is not working right. And even your physical pain is also a sign for when things are out of balance or when they're not working right. So please listen to it and tell yourself that it's okay when things are not working right. You don't necessarily have to have the fix. So many of you go immediately into judging yourself for actually having a problem. What's so bad about having problems? Okay, you don't always have to have the fix. The biggest issue we're having is trying to run away from our problems and coping with them instead of dealing with them. All right, so help yourself here. Don't be too fixated on, everything being perfect. It's okay to recognize a problem and to not have a solution for it. But then you have to stand up And with more maturity, make the better choice, the healthier choice for you, okay? So a lot of what you are experiencing here this week is a somewhat of a reality check, but it's also something that will not be the same way as it was before. It won't be as painful for you to admit it to yourself. And this is the part that I really want to encourage in you, okay? Just give yourself more space. Listen to your needs, heed your needs, meet your own needs. Don't sit there and wait that other people give you what you need or project it onto others, okay? And then give them what you actually need. That's called codependency, guys. That's what got you into these toxic relationships in the first place. My self-coaching tip here is indeed the question, what do I truly need? And I've brought this overview here for you that you will also have in step 21 of the Sacred Self-Healing course, namely, the list of all these things that you as an empath or energetically sensitive need more than other people. And maybe you don't need more of it, maybe you just need more of it because you've been neglecting it so far. I want to really point this out, okay? Just because you're energetically sensitive and empath, you're not special. You're not, someone who needs more. You're just somebody who needs to listen more to your own needs, okay? And also, this is the second part of this, that you learned that it's okay to have needs, okay? That it's okay to stay in that truth. All right, you don't need to judge it and you don't need to fix right away. You just need to stay in there and say to yourself, I am safe in my truth. I am safe in my truth. Repeat this 1,000,000 times, guys. Energetically, chakra-wise, the way this will affect your energy centers this week will be in your first. This is the stance, but also the karmic truth of things, the greater context of things, why you had to go through this to get to this place. Your second, because you'll feel your fixations, you'll feel your attachments, you'll feel how you want to go in there, but you'll also feel the need for more maturity. You'll begin to see this. This is your second chakra, okay? And we've dealt with this here all weekend. Your fifth and your sixth chakra, those are the places in your energy centers that regulate the way you see and express truth. All right, so this ability and this willingness to admit truth to yourself will be increased in this next week, and you feel supported there. Maybe not by your environment, because your environment actually likes things the way it was. Okay, so pointing out truth typically results into a lot of resistance and a lot of blow-ups and so forth. So that one you need to be prepared for, which is why with some personalities, I don't actually recommend to do this. I recommend to go to do this internally, or consolidate or reconciliate this etherically instead. Now, collectively, this is going to be a really turbulent week. Just so you know, there's a certain proneness to accidents. There's a certain tendency for disruption of something. And also, and this is the part that worries me the most, I'll be honest with you, is this religious, this emotional fanatism, this fixation, okay, could as well translate into, something like terror, or something like revenge or retaliation for what happened last week. So that's really possible. There's a strong power struggle going on right now, and you can see this everywhere, okay? There's also this collective, or this national shadow that is now really coming forward. You can see that too. So energetically, this next week resembles very much events that we went through in January and June last week, and also maybe how you feel within. Take maybe a few moments to remember where you were. If you journal, go back to your journal, all right, and feel this out a bit. Physically, I'm expecting continued eye, mouth, not so much the jaw anymore, but more like inside the mouth, and maybe with your gums as well. headaches. Okay, so this pressure on your temples, guys, whenever sort of truth hits you, okay, this can be uncomfortable. Stomach issues as well, and this sort of digestive, lower digestive, not really coming out, not really releasing. This is where the letting go comes in, all right? And overall, there's still this, your overall immune system is still compromised, so you got to strengthen that and work with your lymphatic system, do hot, cold showers if you can. But most of all, really be okay with slowing down, be okay with reviewing, with, you can be super effective in those times if you just ground yourself enough. Use this time to have grounding foods, cook soups, or something with root vegetables that will help you to slow down your nervous system. And chamomile and lavender are always good, when you need to calm yourself, sleep, allow yourself to sleep. Sometimes sleeping over a problem does help. Emotionally, well, I mean, this anxiety, and I'm being all calm, reporting about a turbulent week. But this anxiety will hit you at some point, even if it's just physically at first, like increased heart rate or sweat or pulsing, all these different symptoms, when there's a lot going on in our collective, all right? Try to not get distracted too much. It's sort of, I'm seeing you guys sort of in this sort of ADHD drama fire putter outer mode. Okay, you know where this gets you. Okay, so don't get into this place of, oh my God, I'm all alone, nobody loves me. That will be counterproductive for you, because it keeps externalizing your power to love yourself and to really embody yourself. Okay, many of you will get pulled into all kinds of push-pull games with other people. Okay, so catch your own projections here, guys, because if you participate in it, then you complicit, then it's yours. Okay, then you are part of the problem. Okay, instead, maybe give yourself more space, and understand that emotional maturity means to no longer be afraid of feeling all your emotions, even if it is sort of a temporary loss, or grieving, or needing to let go of something. Okay, so just show up in a, sort of remind yourself that you can show up in a more mature way. Okay, you've got to train this with yourself, because you have to feel safe to do this. All right, that's why the self-coaching tip here is like, say this a million times. Mentally, understand that the reason why you couldn't see truth before was not because you weren't smart enough, or any of these things, but simply because there was too much judging and not enough feeling. This has to do with the emotions that I just said, and this is then where this whole sort of a lack of literacy comes from. Yeah, instead of actually naming it and say, okay, I'm going through some kind of loop here right now, you attach to this ruminating and this worrying. So you have to really catch that and stop focusing on the things that you can't control. All right, it's helpful to see the larger context. All right, so maybe watch the Truth Talk Ascension Pains for a new context, because I'm going really deep into the history of consciousness development and so forth. This can help you. There's a reason why I talked about this here this week. Also, what this confrontation with falsehood or untruth, why that is actually a gift and not a drama or a struggle. It's a gift. All right. In your relationships, as I said, be careful with if you are in relationships that are toxic, and where that things aren't all based on truth or based on respect and compassion for another. Okay, so take this time to become super aware of your needs and allow yourself to have needs. It's okay to have needs, because this time really wants you to renegotiate your needs, your rules of engagement, your terms. Okay, so don't wait for other people sort of to mind read what you need, or project it onto them. Ask for it, and ask for more space. Sometimes we don't quite know yet what we need. That's okay too. All right? That's okay too. Just remember that what was okay for you yesterday doesn't have to be okay for you today. You have the right to say that. You have the right to say that it no longer works for me. We need to renegotiate this. This is what a more mature communication looks like. All right. Now, spiritually, and this is actually quite interesting right now, because a lot of you guys report that you have issues with, being in the presence of falsehood and untruth, and have these mentioned physical problems there, and yeah, this is like a reality check, but in a different way. This is actually showing you how far you have come. And I know I talk about this a lot, but this is about learning how to appreciate all the things that have come forward through this inner prompting in you. And every time you listen to your inner signaling, to your inner prompting, guys, you are moving farther out of your own darkness, even if the bigger problems aren't solved yet, okay? But your stance is getting stronger and stronger. Ultimately, the spiritual journey is about you claiming to be your true self, all right? And this is what drives the shadow and drives the darkness out. There is no space in that space that you inhabit for darkness or for shadow. And there's not even the onset of guilt or regret about it. It's just like, now that you are fully embodying your space, okay, or even, work on enlarging or expanding that space, you'll see that there's so much more light that you can hold. And this will then help you to absolve yourself, okay? So this deeper connection with your higher self is really part of your developing spiritual integrity, guys. And it's a wonderful process. I see this in so many of you, how far you have come. Energetically, we're still in a time of sort of active, conscious shadow work. Okay, what it will become more and more important now for you is chakra awareness and this whole spiritual literacy, to really be able to give all these things a name, and to learn to become comfortable and confident with expressing all of this, to say things out loud such as, I'm not doing this because it doesn't feel right, or it doesn't feel true, or I'm doing this because I like it, because it feels right. Okay? So remember that this whole letting go process, this is only the beginning. It's only the preparation, really, for self-mastery. Okay? This letting go of your ego dualities and the attachments is really just the first step. So clearing is just sort of what allows these blocks to be removed. But then you have to work on strengthening it and expanding, your container of light and love and truth, all right? So that, you can hold all this and remember this when you go low. So this is where we need to remember that it's a constant realignment, okay? The soul fullness means, to accept that it's a constant balancing act between this ego, the solid part in you, that sees everything as finite, and that sees its own mortality, and the ego self, or the true self, soul self in you, that understands that it's actually no big deal, okay? But these have to be synchronized. It's a constant oscillating, okay? So don't be afraid of this. Understand that this is the general shift here that's coming in with all of us, going through this consciousness awakening. All right, and don't feel stupid if you have to do this over and over again. In fact, I would actually recommend you to practice this over and over again, so that in times when your energy goes low, that you can remember it and that you know how to do this, kind of like muscle memory, you know, so it kicks in by itself. Stop fighting what you don't like, what you lack. All right, this is where most of you get in trouble. Focus on strengthening what you have and what you are and what works well instead. Okay, and then the solutions for the bigger problems, they will come in for you. I can promise you that. Also understand that this whole internalization, so the letting go of needing, you know, an audience, needing somebody to confirm this for you, needing somebody else to love you, okay, all that needs to be transcended as well. So even though some of these beautiful experiences that we have come in with our loved ones, okay, we have to let that go too, because it's not them as persons, but the attachment to this feeling, okay. Just because you're not feeling it doesn't mean that you're not conscious, okay. You have to unhook this from another. So as a spiritually awoken person, you no longer have a need for a call. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm wishing you a wonderful week and a wonderful gift on your journey. Hope you can find this underneath all the ADHD distraction stuff. I love you guys. See you next week. Bye bye.